this is something I learned. Now, I don't like to compare it anyway, like black people to animals. I'm really sensitive about that. But there's a what do you call it? There is a woman I was listening to. She's talking about beauty standards, and she was talking about just like with dogs, like there's different types. There's like German shepherds, you have your golden retrievers, you have your chihuahuas, you know, whatever. Different types of dogs, right? She said when it comes to beauty standards, one thing that women need to do is stop trying to compare, like the German shepherd should not look at the poodle to try to just be the best German shepherd you can possibly be. Be the best poodle you can be, you know, be the best chihuahua. And obviously when it comes to even dogs, they can be overweight, right? So there is a such thing as an overweight chihuahua, you know, sometimes people put dogs on diets and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is this kind of goes back to Kevin Samuels and like this whole notion of ranking women and okay, you're a 5 or and like using this scale to say like a mass scale, a general scale. So how do you see beauty and how do you think, I guess, a lot of Black men see it? Is there one scale where you can say, okay, this Black woman is a 5 or she's a 10 or she's a 3? Or is it more like the dog example where, you know, different way, you know, again, is it fair to compare a German Shepherd to a Chihuahua? Is it fair to compare a poodle to a golden retriever? You know, is it okay for us to all have our own beauty and to sort of kind of find people who like there are people who love German Shepherds and there are people who love poodles and there are people who love Chihuahuas. And should we be comparing and mixing all that together? I hope this is making sense. So I guess I'm just wondering, how do you see beauty and how do you think a lot of Black men see beauty?
Well, I mean, I love that you said that. I really need to find out what lady, you know, told you about that because that comes from my video. I put that video.
Are you serious?
And so somebody stole my video concept because that's in my beauty video because I actually use dogs because I think it's easier. And I'm sorry that, you know, that might have offended you, but I use dogs because everybody can see them differently and you don't have to look at dogs the way you look at humans. And I agree with you 100% in what you said. So, yes, when you look at, like, I know plenty of people that love pit bulls. They love them. They just think they're the cutest, best dogs in the world. I'll be honest, I don't like pit bulls.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm no to a pit bull. My best friend has a pit bull. And he loves that dog. And I'm around that dog. I play with that dog. Okay, cool. But I don't like, you know, pit bulls. That's not my thing. So, you know, for me, there are dogs that I find very attractive, and then there's dogs that I don't. And see, I agree with, you know, what was shown in that video, which is, you know, like I say, it probably came from my video, but that's okay. That's how the world works in YouTube. But, you know, when you're dealing with, you know, as a Black woman or really as a person, period, man, woman, any race, you have to be the best of you. Because right now, Naka, that you could be walking down the street. And I know you're married, but, you know, for sake of, you know, example, you could be walking down the street or walking through the grocery store, and then there will be a man that will see you, and he will literally trip over himself. He'll be like, oh, my God, you're like the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. And a lot of women that have never received that, they're thinking, oh, well, this guy's lying. But no, men pick women based off what they like. And they've done studies, literal studies that people can research, and they've talked about what men find attractive, what's an average attractive face, different things like that. But what they've never been able to do, they can never get 100% of the men, not even 90, not even 80% of men to agree that one particular face is more beautiful than another. They've never been able to do that in every single beauty study. So all a woman can ever do at the maximum, all she can do is about 70 to 75% of men will find her attractive. That is it.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I think that is why so many women want to be beautiful in so many different aspects. Like I just did a video, I was talking a little bit about Boomerang, like Eddie Murphy and Boomerang, if you ever seen that movie. And, you know, he's stuck on feet. You know, that's his big thing in that particular movie, stuck on feet. Well, what happens if he runs into a woman who's every single thing he's looking for, but she got ugly feet? See, in that movie, Eddie Murphy would have passed her by.
Yeah, absolutely.
And see, that's the whole point. There are men that love feet. There are men that love hands. There are men that love noses. There are men that love eyes. There are men that love lips. There are men that love earrings. There are men that love hair. And so there's so many things. And that's why women feel like overwhelmed that I got to get my hair done. I got to get my makeup. I got to get my nails. I got to get this. I got to get that. I got to get my BBL because they're trying to be out here for every man.
Yes.
Because they're trying to appeal to everybody so they can get the man that they want. But my thing is just be the best you.
Yes.
If you can be the best you, then you're going to get the man that likes you. But see, the downside to that, and I think this is, again, there's always these two sides of every coin. The other side of that is, do you like the men that like you? And see, for a lot of women, they really can't answer that in a positive way, because there is a portion of people that when they like somebody else, okay, and that person tends not to like them, and or like I say, a guy will like them. Like there was a lady I did a video on a long time ago. She was a dark-skinned Black woman, and she said all the men that ever dated her in her whole life or ever tried to talk to her in her entire life were either white or they were light-skinned Black men. And I find that a lot of light-skinned Black men like dark-skinned Black women. But what you find is a lot of dark-skinned Black women, some of them, in this particular case, this particular lady, she didn't want a light-skinned Black man. She wanted a dark-skinned Black man. Interesting. And so she was making this big deal and talk about how hard it was out here for her dating as a dark-skinned Black woman. But she was attractive. But the whole thing about it is, why don't you like the light-skinned brother? Why you got something against him?
Yeah.
So the very men that like you don't like them. So what's going on in your mind where you can't find attractiveness in these men? Because she would say that they were attractive. She just didn't like their skin. And that is the equivalent of Eddie Murphy running into some of the women that were in that movie. Yeah. Okay. And but then saying, you got everything I'm looking for, but yeah, ugly feet.
Yeah.
I can't deal with you because you got ugly feet. And so, and that's how people do, and so for me, I think that's really important, for a lot of women, to think about, is that, do you like the men that like you? Because like I said, and I actually just did a video like literally today, it'll probably go up in a couple of days, but it talked about the whole Black wife effect.
Oh yeah.
And how a lot of Black women are trying to clean up, these white men and different things like that. And I'm always like, why don't you just clean up the Black man? Because there's a lot of Black men like me that would love for a Black woman to come in and clean me up even more than what I am. Get me looking good. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's like those women with the Black wife effect, they're able to look at this white man and say, well, you really ain't that cute, but if I redid your beard, if I redid your hairstyle, and I changed these clothes, we could make you look good.
Wow.
You see, that's the whole thing. That's why I believe everybody's attractive. Yeah. But you're attractive to your breed, so to speak, your tribe. We might say tribe as humans. You're going to be more attracted to them. And we can't say that just because we're Black Americans, that we're all going to be attracted to Black Americans, because Black Americans come from all over. We've got different amounts of, honestly, European in us. So we all can kind of look different. Yeah. So it's more about, do you like the people that like you? And are you willing to understand that you can take someone, whether you're a male or a female, and you can kind of level them up a little bit and get them a little closer, to what you want.
That's so interesting. So what you're saying, and first of all, I'm gonna send you this lady video. She totally copied you. It's a white lady too. So, because I had never heard anyone, for some reason I never heard you say that. But when I heard her say it, I was like, whoa! It was mind blowing to me. I was just like, this changes everything. But what am I trying to say? Why do you think so many men bought into Kevin Samuels' model of there's one type? Like he used to say, what we used to do? Rihanna's at the top, and then there's Beyonce, and then no, Kelly Rowland, whatever. He would put certain women up there, and then and I would tell men this, and some of the men they were like, what? Why did he put Kelly Rowland? I mean, because again, people have different types, right? So why do you think so many men kind of bought into, or did they buy into it, or I don't know. It seems like they did. If what you're saying, because I more so think like how you think with the different breeds, but it seems like a lot of men, at least online, and even when I make videos, there's usually men always kind of agreeing with like one thing, and sort of all saying the same thing and all kind of, and not really making room for those nuances of like what I was saying earlier about, I get it, I'm a plus size woman, but here's the reality. Here's what happens in real life. Here's what I see. Again, a lot of these women with BBLs, many of them are not small. They probably, they might be overweight, but y'all don't have a problem with that because of how they, how their weight is distributed. So do we really not like overweight women, or is it just when the weight is in a certain area, kind of thing? And like, but again, many of those men who would say that they would never date an overweight woman, or would never, date a plus size, or never would date a woman with a BBL, that seems to not be true in real life. And so it seems like all those men agreeing with Kevin Samuels did that, but then their actions do not show that in the real world, because a lot of these women who are overweight, who have BBLs, are getting married, or going on dates, are some of them are not struggling for to have a man, to find a man. And so I guess my question here is, why do you think so many men agreed with the way Kevin Samuels described it, and no one really pushed back on that? Why do you think that is?
Well, I think honestly that there's so many factors to what you just talked about, because Kevin Samuels, he built such a honestly ironclad and type of environment that I think a lot of people were honestly afraid to go against him. And even I put up some videos where I was trying to show that another side of Kevin Samuels, and I got beat up very quickly in my comments because the men did not like it when Kevin Samuels would say bad things about men. They were very, they didn't care if he said bad things about women, but they didn't like it when he said bad things about men. So again, you have to, kind of see it from all those things. And then I think also you have to look at social media. Social media is not the world. And we still continue to believe that it is, but it's not. And so like, even when you start to deal, like one thing, I remember talking to some people about dating apps, and they were saying, everybody's on dating apps, everybody. And I was like, who says that? And they were like, well, social media. And I was like, if you look at the average dating app, like even Bumble, which I think is number one right now, you can literally just do this as an experiment. It'd be a great experiment for you on your channel, is you go out to Bumble, you go in as a man, pull up women, and then just count how many times you swipe. And if you just count it should go out. It should filter out after a certain amount of time. It will. I think now they try to start it over, but it used to fully filter out. And I remember I did that one time, and I think it was somewhere around 3,000 to 4,000 women that were on between the ages of like 28 and 45. And when you look at the fact that there are 6 million people in Atlanta, and that about half of those are going to be women, and then half of that is going to be single. So it should be 1.5 million. I should never run out.
Sure.
But I did within about 3,000 to 4,000 people. But what that let me know is that there's not that many people on these dating apps. There's really only about maybe 1 to 3% at any given time. Sometimes it might have, maybe during the pandemic, it got up to maybe 5 or 7%, but there's just not a lot of people out there. So again, a lot of the people, and even when you look at YouTube, a lot of the people that are following, whether they're following Kevin Samuels or they're following Red Pill or they're following whatever, again, let's look at the real numbers. If you look at a video that Kevin Samuels put out or anybody put out that's talking about something in this dating space, does it have 30 million people that have seen that video? In fact, it's very rare in the dating space to have a video that actually even reaches 1 million.
Right.
So when you think about it from that perspective, again, you look at the United States. The United States, like I said, we're forgetting the United States. Let's take Atlanta. You take Atlanta, it should be, about 1.5 million people, okay, should be roughly single, as far as female is concerned. And that's not talking DC. That's not talking about New York. That's not talking about all the other little small areas. That's not talking about, white people or Latino people or Asian people. That's not talking about Africans who actually do watch YouTube content. Okay, that's not talking about Europeans. So if you were to have all that social media and all these people watching this stuff and all these people believing it, all these people's videos would have like 50, 70, 100 million views. But they don't.
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah. So when we're basically saying that all these men feel this way, no. The men that are watching social media in this social media area feel this way. So that's why I tell people, don't worry about this stuff. Focus on the people that are helping you get better and then get better yourself. Because there's, like I said earlier, there's going to be a guy who sees you. Like I said, you already found him because you're married. But if you were, you be walking down the mall, you're doing this, you're doing that, and he will go crazy for you. And every single woman, I believe, out there, if she's doing what she needs to do. Now, a lot of people, and I'm not saying all people that's watching, but you will have people, both men and women, and I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes, and I wish I hadn't seen it, but I've seen both men and women come out with not their, people say A game, B game. These people came out with their Z, it's zebra game. Because I saw a guy one time, like I said, his shirt was wrinkled, his collar was up like this, and the guy was actually a millionaire. But he was out there and couldn't get women. Then I've seen guys, like I say, here we have a jazz thing. We'll have it actually tomorrow night here in Atlanta, when we're recording this video. And again, I've seen guys come to that jazz event looking like garbage in jeans and t-shirt. And I've seen women come up there. Now, women can rock the jeans and sneakers a little different. But I've seen women that come rocking it and they ain't really rocking it. They just, it's an oversized shirt, baggy jeans, this tennis shoes ain't got, sneakers, as people say in New York, ain't got no flavor to them. Their hair ain't got no style. They ain't done nothing as far as makeup. And I'm not saying it gotta be heavy, but it could be maybe a little lip gloss or something. And I've seen women walk through there like that. And then they get mad when no man is paying them no attention. But then I've seen a woman who, people might say is plus size, she might be thick or whatever, and she's walking through and she got everything going. Right. And she's turning heads. You see what I'm saying? And so it's always all those things that are going on. But I think what Kevin Samuels did was he put a magnifying glass on an area that a lot of Black people were trying to keep secret for a long period of time. And I would say that's Black media was trying to keep secret. And I think that was the good thing about what he said. But I think that Black women, if they have a child, that they're out? No. Do I think that, Black women that are doing this thing over here, that they're out? No. Because every Black man wants something different. And so, like I said, when you're looking at, like, even with Kevin Samuels, used Kelly Rowland over Beyonce. You see, that was key what he was doing there. And I do the same thing on my channel, as you talked about earlier with her, because there's some of us, we don't want Beyonce. Everybody thinks Beyonce's so fine, and we're basically saying, no, she's not. She's fine, yes. If she was in front of me and she was a nice person when I talked to her, yes. But is she my number one? No. She's not my 10. And that's the whole point of the whole thing with the breeds or the tribes. They're different people who look different. And it's okay for me to prefer to be with the artist her than to be with Beyonce. It's okay for Kevin Samuels to say, I want Kelly Rowland. I don't want Beyonce. You see, that's one of the things that I think a lot of Black people have to get in their spirit, that there's not one, only this woman is attractive. Yeah. Or only this man is attractive. And we have to open ourselves up to believing that there's all these pretty people out here. There's all these attractive people out here. And let's go get them. Let's marry them and make more babies that look like them.
That is really good. You have such a great way of explaining this, Jay. Like the way you break it down, with such honesty, and I mean, I've been actually dying to ask a black man this question. So I'm so happy I asked you that question. Another question I've been dying to ask a black man